that certainly requires significant amount of energy. And that means how do we now really balance the cost of energy to the data stores that we need when it comes to real-time data. The third area is, which is now closer to my heart and from last 34 years, is now the evolution of quantum computers. And those themselves will consume so much energy and generate so much data that I don't think anybody has actually forecasted that very well. So if we took it in these three kind of eras, pre-AI, current AI, and quantum AI, I think we are in a what should I call, in a shock of how do we actually navigate this landscape.
Doctor, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So regarding your second point and the data being stored and also the quality of the data, do you think that the issue really stems from the fact that the data centers housing a majority of the information, like petabytes of data, and the processing for those things? So you have to cache them, process, and then remove those caches so that you're not storing things which are unnecessary. But the vast bulk of it seems to have redundancies in it, and the power processing has to become that much greater because there's no communication between the actual data stores. Now, say for instance, let me take this example a little further. You have, say, 3 major LLMs. Each of these LLMs has their own bank of information, petabytes of data, which they're learning and training off of. Now, in the tenets of Western commercialism, the idea is that we want to have some sort of proprietary nature to our models. So in order to have that, we need to have our own data sets. We need to analyze them a specific way. What gets analyzed and then produced, the data from the data, then also has to get stored. And because there's a lack of communication amongst these things, you have siloed data sets. So each person is amassing up these huge stores, which require a ton of resources. And they're also lacking communication amongst each other because they're not really cooperating in nature to say, hey, I understand you have this data. This data is really not of a necessary value. We could probably scrub this altogether. And if we communicated and moved past the idea of IP protection and really tried to work as a total unit to reach your phase 3 you talked about, which is that artificial general intelligence, the only way you could do that would be really an unsiloing of the data structures themselves and creating one continual real-time pool of information that all of these models would pull from.